Let's bring in Dan Bongino, former New York City police officer, former Secret Service guy, host of the Dan Bongino Show. He's an NRA contributor and somehow is able to squeeze us into part of his day. Good morning to you.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, morning, guys. How you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Speaking of bad blood, John Brennan, who used to run the CIA, he sent out an ominous tweet yesterday after it was announced that the Department of Justice would look into whether or not the Obama administration did anything inappropriate. And it says this: Senator McConnell and Speaker Ryan, if Mr. Trump continues along this disastrous path, you will bear major responsibility for the harm done to our democracy. You do a great disservice to our nation and the Republican Party if you continue to enable Mr. Trump's self-serving actions. So the question to you, Dan Bongino, why is John Brennan talking like that?
John Brennan's panicking, Steve. John Brennan has disgraced himself. He's disgraced the country. He's disgraced the intelligence community. He is the one man largely responsible for the destruction of Americans' faith in the intelligence community and in some people at the top of the FBI. Steve, Brennan started this entire debacle with Trump. We now know that Brennan had pretty detailed knowledge of the dossier. I'll walk you through this real slow. Okay. He knows about the dossier. He denies knowledge of the dossier. He briefs the Gang of Eight up in the Hill about the dossier, which they then use to demand the FBI start an investigation into Trump. It is that simple. This guy is the genesis of this whole debacle.
Well, who told him to do
it?
Who told him to start it?
We think, based on some of my investigation and for the book we're putting together on this, that he just didn't like Donald Trump, but got information through unofficial channels, through people who were involved with British intelligence. They were basically using unofficial channels, Steve, to launder information like you would launder money. Because if they put it through official channels, something would have happened. You know what that one thing is? They would have had to verify the information before they used it, and they didn't want to because this was a political hit job. This was not an intelligence investigation.
I noticed that Ben Rhodes has gone silent. A lot of the people that was doing so much talking a year ago, they're questioning about stuff, they've seemed to have gone quiet. John Brennan sounds like a $3 pundit, just somebody just ranting and raving as if we're getting closer and closer to hitting a nerve. Who are the people that would know if John Brennan was doing this? Would Clapper be one to know? Would Comey be one to know? Would the president be, President Obama be one to know that this was going on?
I believe John Carlin at DOJ, Jim Clapper. I believe Loretta Lynch had detailed knowledge. Of course, Comey knew what was going on in this. There was a very small working group of people who were involved in this political hit job on Donald Trump. But at this point, here's the problem, Brian. The reason Brennan's panicking and a lot of others have gone silent is they're not just worried about reputational harm. Brennan's disgraced himself. He knows history's not going to be kind to him. They're worried about staying out of jail. There were criminal leaks here, criminal leaks, felonious criminal leaks of of information. Someone was responsible.
Well, we may just be scratching the surface even at this point. Do you remember that Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf? Remember back in February, she warned people in her area, illegals, about an ICE raid coming and to do what you need to do to protect yourself. Well, the president mentioned her in this roundtable that he had last week when he had mayors and law enforcement talking about sanctuary cities in California, and he spoke about this mayor. She's now responding to the president. This was a couple days ago in the Washington Post, an op-ed. She says, Mr. President, I'm not obstructing justice. I'm seeking it. I wanted to make sure that people were prepared, not panicked, and that they understood their legal rights as mayor. It is my duty to protect my residents. It is my duty to call this administration anti-immigrant fear-mongering for what it is, a racist lie. So she's saying it is my duty, Dan, to protect illegal immigrants.
Over citizens.
Yeah, shame on me. I thought her duty was to protect the legal residents of her county and the tax-paying base and the citizens who actually finance her job and her government. I mean, call me crazy, but I thought that was job number one for her. Apparently not. But Libby Schaaf's another one who has some legal concerns here, too. I believe she should be investigated for obstructing justice here. You know, what about those ICE agents who showed up at doors to deport people in the country illegally, lawbreakers, by the way, who now, apparently some of these lawbreakers lawmakers had a heads up what they were coming. What happened if one of them, God forbid, would have gotten hurt? I mean, this is serious stuff. This isn't a joke. Maybe she should think about that the next time she warns people in the country illegally about law enforcement officers coming to interview them or potentially bring them into the justice system.
Look who the governor is. The governor made it a sanctuary state, so the governor says this is she's just saying, I'm answering my superior.
Yeah, well, Moonbeam has a reputation, Moonbeam Brown, of course, of, making it up as he goes along. And this is interesting. He's another one who swore to uphold the rule of law and just seems to have ignored it because they're obsessed with just defeating Donald Trump and catering to their far-left base.
Well, if the people of California didn't like it, they could vote him out, but we haven't seen that so far. All right.
Dan, always fired up for us. Great to see you this Monday morning. Have a good day.
You got it.
All right.
You got it, you too.
21 minutes before the top of the hour, and Jillian's got some news for you.
Hey,
That's
Jillian.
right. Good Monday morning to you guys, to you at home as well. The leader of ISIS on a chilling new mission, brainwashing school children. One of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi's former officers telling Iraqi media the leader discussed that strategy last year in Syria. Now, there have been multiple reports claiming the leader is dead or severely wounded since he was last seen in 2014, but U.S. officials believe he's still alive. A former mayor of New Orleans awarded for tearing down history. Democrat Mitch Landrieu given the JFK Profile and Courage Award after taking down statues of Robert E. Lee, Jefferson Davis, and 2 others. Landrieu went ahead with the move despite legal challenges and arguments the Confederacy is an important part of New Orleans' heritage. A mother turning her 14-year-old son in for stealing from a blind man. Police say the boy posed as a cop and pretended to help the man before snatching his wallet inside a New York City subway. The victim's credit card was quickly charged $500 at a nearby store. The teen arrested but has since been turned over to his family. Pop star Kelly Clarkson calling for gun control at the Billboard Music Awards. The host says she was instructed to hold a moment of silence for the victims of the Santa Fe school shooting, but she refused.
I'm so sick of moment of silence like that. It's not working. Why won't we do moment